Hello, Dawgpound South campers. This is the Cleveland Browns Dawgpound South podcast, part of the Fanatical Elves Network, part of the Fans First Sports Network. I'm your host, Steve Gill. That was a dud. I don't know if the defense could play any harder, but this team is condemned to have a lousy offense all year. And your primary culprit early was the quarterback position with a franchise quarterback who couldn't play anymore. And now you've got a turnover machine in Jameis Winston, and you can't run the ball. And you can't run the ball because your number one running back is coming off major knee surgery and is hurt again, broken foot. And your offensive line is aging and making stupid mistakes. No, Kevin Stefanski shouldn't be fired, and no, Andrew Berry shouldn't be fired. I know everybody wants their pound of flesh for this season, and it is not because they traded for Deshaun Watson. No one person made that decision. It was a collaborative effort. I don't care what kind of misinformation the media and the so-called experts put out there. It was more than one person. It was a group decision. All right. So get over that aspect of it. What they're going to do is they're going to find a way to get rid of him next year. Now, moving forward to next year, the Browns need to, like I've said in the past, they need to find their bridge quarterback, a veteran. It ain't Jameis Winston. I'm sorry. Bye. Thank you for your time as a Cleveland Brown. You were a great teammate, but man, you can't turn the ball over like that. And those interceptions. I mean, I know the one Nick Chubb dropped, but he did throw it behind Nick Chubb, and Nick Chubb probably could have caught it. But that's your problem. So now, moving forward, let's see what DTR can do. If DTR is your future starter, great. If he comes out and plays gangbusters the last 3 games, I'm hearing they've told him that there is a possibility that he could start. So let's bring him out. Let's start him against the Bengals. Let's start him against Miami. And by the time Baltimore rolls around, they'll probably already have their playoff seed, and they'll be resting players, so he'll be going against number 2s. So let's just see what happens with DTR. If he is the answer for your future starting quarterback, then let's move forward. You sign a veteran to back him up, and then you bring in a young guy as your number 3 emergency. That does not mean you use your number 1 draft pick on a quarterback. You just don't do that. Not this draft. These are not good quarterbacks. These are not NFL-ready quarterbacks. I don't really care what people think about the Sanders kid, but he is not ready for the NFL. Sorry, just not. I don't see it. But because it's a glorified position in this league, somebody will overdraft Ward or Milrow or any of the numerous other quarterbacks that will be drafted. Some of these kids need to stay in school another year, but they won't. They can get their NIL money and make a ton of money, but if you're a first round draft pick, you're making big money. So fix something else. See if DTR is your answer. Let's take a quick break. So, like I said, Andrew Berry, Kevin Stefanski, I think they will be back. I'm hearing the owner wants consistency. They will, if the same type of season happens next year that's happening this year, then they'll just take care of that and move on to somebody else. But right now, it needs to be Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski. As for my pet peeve, the special teams, I'm hearing that right now, no coaches are going to be fired. That's Kevin Stefanski's decision. And I can see the reasoning when you're talking about the punt team. They have never dedicated themselves to a starting punt returner. They've shuffled guys in and out of there. Prochet is not the answer. He makes terrible decisions. He catches the ball. He fumbles the ball. He fair catches the ball when he should run with the ball. They need to be more consistent. I think they found their kick returner in Jerome Ford. He's ripped off 2 good ones here in the last 2 games. And he's a great number 2 back. Definitely bring Jerome Ford back. Nick Chubb. Now, this is where it gets a little dicey. Broken foot. I hear they're still committed to him. I hear they're still thinking about re-signing him. Let's face facts. A lot of people out there will say, well, they better sign him. He'll go to another team. No other team wants it. I hate to tell you this, but you can find a starting running back in the NFL as an undrafted rookie free agent. It's being done. It's been done. And teams just don't want to spend the money like they spend on quarterbacks. They don't want to spend the money on a running back. And let's face facts, he's an older running back. You could probably get him for a 2-year deal in Cleveland, heavily incentives. He wants to come back. He'll give the team a friendly deal. So let's just see how the rehab does on his broken foot. I want him back. I think I see the vision. I see the recognition of what's going on. But the problem is, like I've said, they need to fix the offensive line. And they only have one good offensive lineman. That's it. Jack Conklin. The rest of them, replaceable. All of them. We don't know if Batonio is going to come back. He may retire. You did draft Zach Zinter, but he needs to get better lower body strength. He had a broken leg, and they shouldn't have played him this year. They should have just kept him and practiced him. Hopefully he'll be ready. Luke Whippler missed the entire season because he was hurt. So he's basically a year behind. He's not going to come in and start next year. So they're going to have to find a new center. I'm not convinced. I know Wyatt Teller's saying, well, we're working on a new deal. I'm not convinced on Wyatt Teller. I'm sorry. And they need a new left tackle. That you can get in the draft and you've still got DeJuan Jones, who could play left tackle. So they are going to have to make some nice moves in free agency, plug some holes on the offensive line. Then the other side is the defensive line. I love Michael Hall. Michael Hall can be a first-round talent. He showed it. I love Isaiah McGuire. He could be your complement to Myles Garrett. And no, they're not going to trade Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett doesn't want to go anywhere. So they're going to need to get younger. I'm hearing that they're not going to do this aging veteran routine like they did with Mo Hurst and Shelby Harris. Mo Hurst is out and Shelby Harris got hurt again. That's the problem. That's the dice you roll with signing these 1-year deals for these aging veterans, especially those that have known to be hurt in the past. They're both gone. Forget about them. I wouldn't re-sign either one of them. So you need to get younger on your defensive line. You need to get younger at safety. Thornhill and McLeod are gone. I'm sorry, Ronnie Hickman doesn't do anything for me. Hopefully you can get JOK back. Delpit's playing fantastic, but you need to fix the safety room. So as for the other positions in the draft, Andrew Berry uses the draft like colleges uses redshirt seasons. He drafts people to replace future starters. And so far it's working. Cedric Tillman, I like him. DeJuan Jones, I just mentioned, he can be your starting left tackle next year if he comes through healthy. You're going to still have to pick up some young talent to put behind him. But so moving forward, they've got the Bengals this week. Hopefully DTR starts. Then you've got Miami and Cleveland for the last home game. Hopefully there's nasty weather. I'd really like to see Miami get beat this week and then just, give up on the season. And then your final game at Baltimore, I'm hoping the playoff seedings are already set and they just play their backups. So that would give the team a pretty good idea of what they have in DTR. Like I said, you got to find out now. If you don't find out now, moving forward, and they will, they're going to find out now. They don't go into any offseason with a half-ass plan. Okay, I hate to tell the Cleveland media this. They're already thinking of ways to get rid of Deshaun Watson, and I have faith that they can do it. All right, this has been the Cleveland Browns Dawgpound South podcast, part of the Fanatical Elves Network, part of the Fans for Sports Network. I'm your host, Steve Gill, and I am glad you're watching, subscribing, listening, and following us here at the Fanatical Elves Network, because after all, we're fans just like you. Everybody, have a great